Hello all and welcome to the latest C64 Roundup, your concise guide to the latest news and releases for your Commodore 64. And our featured game for this month is a preview of Star Wars The Empire Strikes Back. The original Atari 2600 version of The Empire Strikes Back is a side-scrolling arcade shooter that sees you take control of a snowspeeder to battle against Imperial AT-AT walkers on the planet Hoth. The game was a commercial success back in 1982 and a favourite of many gamers who first played the game almost 40 years ago. The Megastyle team are set to treat C64 gamers who happen to be Star Wars enthusiasts with their conversion to the Atari 2600 title Star Wars The Empire Strikes Back. Just as with the original game, the C64 adaptation of The Empire Strikes Back is presented on a side-scrolling landscape that represents the planet Hoth. The Rebel shield generator is situated to the far right, and waves of Imperial forces approach from the left, with the goal to reach and destroy the generator so that the main forces can descend and destroy the Rebel base. Your task is to fly your snowspeeder and defeat each wave of enemies to buy the Rebels time to escape. The Megastyle team have taken the opportunity to apply some enhancements to the core game design in order to make it far more of an engaging gaming experience. On top of the simply gorgeous looking in-game graphics, the C64 version of the game is broken up into 8 stages which alternate between attacks from AT-ST scout transports and the Big Daddy AT-ATs, and feature different daytime settings. AT-STs are easier to kill as they only require 20 hits, but they walk faster, meaning that you have less time to destroy them before they reach the Rebel shield generator. AT-ATs are much tougher and take anywhere from 30 shots on early stages to 50 shots later on. Their head is the most vulnerable area and every shot here will damage it. The body of the AT-AT is more heavily armoured however, and only 1 in 3 shots will cause damage. As a nice touch, you can see the AT-ATs start to deteriorate as they start to take on more hits, while at the same time the movement towards the Rebel shield generators will start to slow down. Occasionally, a droid hatch will open up on the AT-AT and remain open for a few seconds, allowing you the opportunity to instigate a one-hit kill. Pulling these shots off provides a very gratifying feeling of accomplishment, as otherwise a lot of patience and discipline is required to eliminate an AT-AT. If you don't take advantage of the open hatches, then it is likely that you will need to then deal with a spawning homing Viper droid coming in your direction. The game starts off relatively easy and ramps up in difficulty with each progressive stage. Probe droids are randomly generated from stage 3 onwards and need to be either dealt with or evaded for a certain period of time. The Empire Strikes Back is as much about pulling off evasive moves than it is to inflict damage on enemies, and the C64 version features highly responsive controls to allow you to pull off tight turns and twists to ensure that your speeder comes out in one piece. If you manage to avoid any damage for 60 seconds, then the Force mode is activated. Your snowspeeder will pulse for 15 seconds, making you invulnerable to enemy fire and droid attacks. An extra life is also awarded for every 20,000 points you obtain during the initial 8 stages of the game. Where the Imperial enemies reach the Rebel shield generator, they will switch their weapon over to a big laser and start to bombard the generator. The state of damage is shown at the top right, and the game is over if it is totally destroyed. Whenever you complete a stage, a fanfare jingle is played and another Rebel ship is able to escape. The first 6 to escape will be large transport ships, while I'll leave it to you to uncover who escapes after stages 7 and 8. If you complete all 8 stages, then the main mission has been won, and you'll be greeted by a storyboard showing your Rebel allies escaping to fight another day. The game will then loop back to stage 1, but with increased difficulty, and there will be no more ships escaping at the end of each stage. Megastyle has excelled in providing a modern day adaptation of Star Wars The Empire Strikes Back for the Commodore 64. It is hard not to be impressed with the high production values on offer here, from the impressive graphics to the tight controls and through to the wonderful musical score, all while still retaining the essence of the original game title. It is expected that Star Wars The Empire Strikes Back will be available as a digital download from the Megastyle itch.io page on May the 4th. The game will be made available for free, but you can show your appreciation for their efforts by throwing a small donation their way, with all funds collected going to a charity. Okay, it's time to check out some of the latest news. Get ready for an epic quest as Pulsar Productions are set to unleash their Zelda-like arcade adventure, Lickia: The Lost Island. We are pleased to be able to provide this exclusive footage of the game. Lickia sees you take control of Nora, who happens to be celebrating her 16th birthday, when her world is turned upside down. Nora has to make sense of the recent events so she can help restore things back to normal. Lickia features some of the best opening and ending cutscenes to feature on a C64, fantastic graphical effects, a large game world, and a charming story narrative. The game will receive a physical release via Cytronic Software. We'll be showcasing Lickia in a feature presentation within the next month or two, and I just can't wait to show you more of the game. Hey, do you want to grab yourself a free gift voucher to the Protovision shop? Then why not consider participating in the Protovision Pieces 2 level design compo? Simply download the Pieces 2 level editor from Protovision and start creating your own levels. Everyone who submits one or more valid levels will not only have it featured in the upcoming community release of Pieces 2, but you'll also get a Protovision voucher to the value of €5. In addition, special prizes will be awarded in 2 categories. 1, the most difficult level to solve, and 2, the most number of levels submitted that makes it into the game. The top 3 participants of each of the 2 categories receive additional Protovision shop vouchers valued from €10 to €60. Sarah Jane Avery and Bitmapsoft have announced that they are partnering together to produce a physical cartridge edition of Zeta Wing, the game that took out the RGN Gamers' Choice Award in 2020. There is no date set for the release of the Zeta Wing cart, but we should expect it to become available on pre-order in the upcoming months. If all things go well, then fingers crossed that we will also get to see a physical edition of the Brightly Witch Chronicles come to light. Time to take a look at some games that have been recently released or about to be released. The C64 conversion of Puzzle Bobble has finally been completed and released. The aim of the game is simple. Use your pointer device at the bottom to aim and shoot bubbles up the screen. When your bubble touches identically coloured bubbles to form a group of 3 or more, then those bubbles, as well as any others hanging from them, are removed from the field of play. After every few shots, the ceiling of the playing arena drops downwards slightly, along with all the bubbles stuck to it. You need to clear all the bubbles from the arena without any bubbles crossing the bottom line. Once you clear the bubbles, then it's on to the next round. The single-player game consists of 32 rounds in total. A 2-player mode is included where any bubbles cleared from your side will appear in your opponent's game area, and is sure to be a great experience when playing with a friend or young child that you've bribed to play with you. The C64 version of Puzzle Bobble is very well executed. Graphics and animations are good, while the game sound hits the mark. It plays very well with the bubbles feeling like they have the right amount of weight to them, and some of you will be pleased to know that it includes paddle support. You can find a link to the Puzzle Bubble download on the RGN website, but note that the game is PAL only. What is a C64 Roundup without an Arlasoft game? And this month we have Paper Planes. A casual arcade style game where your objective is to guide your white paper plane safely across the screen, collecting as many yellow tokens as possible. The longer the game goes, the more enemy planes are added to the screen. There are some temporary power-ups to pick up, such as slowing other planes down and invulnerability to help you build your score. I quite enjoyed Paper Planes for a quick gaming session, and I'm sure you will too. Paper Planes is available from Arlasoft's itch.io page. Lane Crazy by Blazin is an enjoyable vertical scrolling high score attack party game. You control 4 balls as you shift their positions from one side of their lane to another in order to avoid having them fall into dark holes. There are 8 levels in total. After every 2 levels, the lanes will become steeper to travel on. After the 8th level, you just keep on scoring until you fall through a hole and lose. While you can play Lane Crazy with a joystick, I think you're going to want to tackle this one with a keyboard. Initially it does feel a little odd keeping track of the 4 lanes as you try to get your eyes and fingers to work together in order to press the correct key to move the ball you want. And things do become quite challenging as the pace speeds up later on in the game. Lane Crazy will have a general digital download release by mid-February via itch.io. C64 Portal has released Robot Jet Action. Evil robots from another world are coming to steal jewels, and it's up to you, a jet-carrying little robot, to collect them all before they do. Robot Jet Action is a single-screen arcade game containing 35 levels spread out over 5 different game theme worlds. On each level, you simply need to go around collecting enough jewels for an exit portal to open up. If you collect all the jewels on screen, then your perfect round results in all the enemies being eliminated before exiting. Each game world is distinct from each other and can be played in whatever order you prefer. This is a good design choice as it allows all players to experience each world no matter what their game skills are like. Flying around the screen is as simple as holding the joystick button down to apply the thrusters to your jetpack. But be aware that use of the thrusters is not indefinite, as the jetpack stops working when it heats up too much and needs time to cool down before being able to be used again. At first, I found Robot Jet Action to be difficult and I was a little cold on the game. But then I realised that this is not a Bomb Jack clone, and I should not be playing this game in that style. The key to Robot Jet Action is to take a moment to understand the enemy's fixed movement patterns, plan the movement ahead and then execute, often with lots of short and sharp bursts of the thrusters. You still need to watch out for those pesky ceiling spikes, but I found Robot Jet Action to be immensely more enjoyable once I understood what type of game it was. Of course, the production values on Robot Jet Action are top class. It has a wonderful graphical look, and the SID soundtrack is certainly one of the best in recent times. A good game indeed. Robot Jet Action is available as a digital download from itch.io. Time for us to take another look at a modern day game from a few years back. And this episode's flashback title is You Must Win the Game by Pirate Hearts, developed way back in 2012. And to help me out with reviewing the game, I'm pleased to be joined by Brendan Randall from the Bastich B 64K YouTube channel and Hands On Gaming podcast. Hi Brendan, thanks for joining me in this segment. It's great to be working together for the first time.
And yeah, thank you very much, Louis, for inviting me for this review, and I really look forward to many more C64 collaborations we can do together.
That's for sure. I'm really looking forward to joining you from time to time on 64K. And as for this episode's flashback game, You Have to Win the Game is an adaptation of the original PC game. It is a flip-screen platform game where you run, jump and avoid deadly pitfalls as you explore the ruins of a lost world in search of hidden treasures and rare artifacts. The game world is filled with myriad of passages, fork tunnels and seemingly impassable spots marked by hazards and moving lifts. You will have to find and collect 4 different orbs that will either activate previously invisible platforms or provide jumping or climbing upgrades if you are to progress through the game. Luckily for us, we have an infinite amount of lives and lots of barrel checkpoints at our disposal. The game features a percentage counter that tracks up to 100% as you explore every screen, pick up money bags and activate switches. It is possible for you to complete the game without getting 100%, but I know RGN viewers are rock hard and will not accept finishing the game at anything less than 100%. You will need to do a bit of backtracking to complete your quest, but you remain driven to go forward every time you uncover a new screen and increase your percentage counter. So Brendan, what were your first impressions of how to win the game?
This was actually one of the first new C64 games I played after the Commodore bug hit me again in about 2018 or so, and that actually led to the creation of my YouTube channel. I found the game absolutely randomly on the CSDB site by pure luck. I knew absolutely nothing about it. When I loaded it up, my initial thoughts were those DOS era graphics just jump out at you. It simply doesn't look like any particular C64 game I can even think of, except a few of those early Apple II ports, like Conan for example. The simple gameplay though had me hooked immediately.
Yes, the CGA style colour graphics really grabbed me and overwhelmed me with some great nostalgic memories of DOS gaming as well. But as it does give the game more of a PC DOS vibe rather than C64, did this detract from the game from your perspective?
It definitely doesn't look like any C64 game, but I kinda like that about it. It's very simple yet highly detailed. It reminds me of going over to my cousin's house in the 80s and playing Leisure Suit Larry. Those colour schemes and basic graphics were quite charming. The screens also all have quite a bit of variety graphics-wise, and considering how big the map is, it's pretty impressive they got this all in on one load.
You're right, the game does feel quite expansive. Despite the game having infinite lives, I found it quite challenging and have not been able to complete it yet. Brendan, did you happen to win the game?
It does ramp itself up pretty evenly, kinda like Montezuma's Revenge. There's lots to explore and many dead ends initially until you understand all the mechanics. It's simple though to understand, But no, I did not win the game in the end. I've gotten about 40 or 50% or so before. It does get pretty tricky, and you'll be doing lots of backtracking to find all that treasure.
Yeah, with each session I find that I'm able to uncover a little more of the game. It certainly has that X factor about it that pulls me back for repeated plays, even when I'm frustratingly trying to get past one of those hazards that require pixel perfect movement. The game is really well made, and the controls are really fluid. I just find that there's a nice sense of freedom to the game. What did you think of the game overall, Brendan?
My overall impression is really positive. I only wish that the game had a nice, really big SID soundtrack, to give it that more C64 appeal, but I totally get the style which was intended. It's an interesting, well-made game, and if you're getting back into the C64 gaming scene in the modern era, I'd highly recommend giving this one a go.
Well, thanks so much for your time, Brendan. It's been great to share our thoughts on a game that's not widely known to C64 gamers who've only just returned to the scene recently. And I look forward to having you back on RGN real soon. But in the meantime, I encourage any viewers who are yet to subscribe to Bastage B 64K to head on over to the channel and check out Brendan's great C64 related content. And that is a wrap on another C64 Roundup episode. Thank you to all viewers for showing your support for the current day Commodore 64 scene, irrespective as to whether you play a lot of new releases or just like to keep informed about the latest events. Thank you to all those who financially contribute to the channel either through Patreon or Ko-fi. Your support is invaluable to making sure that I can push out quality content with the limited time capacity that I have available. Until next time, bye for now.